Aha! I'm live. I was actually here at 7 o'clock, and I just got the twirling ring of death or whatever it is that didn't want to. It didn't want to load, but here I am. Good evening, gentlemen. Good to be here. Good to have you all along. Who have we got in this busy room already tonight? Yes, dear. Welcome along, David Tyree, all the way from NZ. Tavo from Australia. Mr. Freemesser, driveway of Misfits, all the way from New York. Beagle Bob, just a little south of me. Now, I feel like Yetis would enjoy chocolate muffins. Good to see you paying attention there. Yes, I think that's probably a fair statement. Who doesn't enjoy chocolate muffin? And we got Tommy Boches in the house. How about that? The famous Tommy Boches. Good to have you here, man. What brings you to the room? Paul Funk, good evening, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, indeed. Please do hit the like button. It helps a lot. Paul Funk here, 98 in Colorado. Mate, I think it was around the same here today. It was hot. LVG, the Lower Man's Garage. Welcome along, bud. Mexican Spec. Hey, awesome. Thanks for dropping in, man. Tavo, Yeti would prefer a Savoy. Well, yeah, don't know whether a Yeti would have ever heard of a Savoy, but, I'm sure he'd enjoy it. Tommy Bosch is watching my hero. Oh, okay. You're already into the bourbon then, Tommy, I take it. What else is happening? Brad Eastman, hey, Kiwi, rebuilt the master cylinder, one step closer. Nice, well done. That's on the Plymouth, right? Old timer, hey, welcome along, bud. I'm all out of bourbon, sad face. Well, that's a problem, but I mean it's relatively easily solved, But yeah, you must have slipped up there and run out of bourbon. I can't imagine doing that. That would pose a problem. Chris Freeman's wait, I thought Savoys were made of Yetis. Anything's possible with the Savoy, mate, honestly. It's just whatever happens to be around, I think, goes into those things. Charles Dalton, Chuck, welcome along. Happy Tuesday/Wednesday. Well, this is right. Yes. Tavo, I'm into the hot coffee. Oh, there you go. Well, it's early for you, isn't it, bud? It's early for you. Now, Tommy Boches, what's happening over in your shop, mate? Have you got that Mopar going, that 66, I think it was, that gold one? You must be getting very close to wrapping that thing up. Cheers, by the way, guys. And if you want to know someone who loves their bourbon, Tommy Boches is the man for bourbon. He's got quite an impressive collection. Josh Homan, hey, welcome along, man. Good to have you here. Beagle Bob, that's a fancy glass. Yeah, it's not bad, is it? It's the Japanese-made glass. My wife got me these. And, they look all kind of pointy and stuff, but it's like ergonomically wise, your fingers just fit into the little grooves just nicely. And it's, you can get pretty hammered and the glass doesn't slip out of your hand with all the little ridges in it. It's well designed. It's well thought out. Tommy Bosch's line lock on a Hemi Bago. Mate, do you even need a line lock on a Hemi Bago? Hey, who else here in the room has seen Tommy's Hemi Bago, his Winnebago with a Hellcat 700 horse and some supercharged Hemi in it? That's an impressive wagon. It's just the wildest thing ever. It's just, it makes the brain kind of goes, what? It makes no sense at all, but it's cool. The LVG, the no-slip grip, that's the one. Charles Dalton, we need to start a GoFundMe for Old Timer. Yeah, we can't have him out of bourbon. That wouldn't do at all. It really wouldn't do. Charles Dalton at Tommy Bosch's, the Winnebago is epic. Love the comment someone wrote, that thing is a sleeper in more ways than one. That's true. I never thought about it in those two. That's very, very well said. Yes. Beagle Bob, the Hemi Bago, proof it can move a house down the highway. This is true. Tavo, that's quite a fancy glass, Mr. Kiwi. Yes, it is. It's cool, isn't it? I like it. I like it. Man, Mrs. K bought me these. Made in Japan, I think, from memory. Pretty cool. Off Amazon or something like that, I think it was, So, Josh Homan, good evening, and to one and all as well, indeed. Now, what do we got here? SLP, SRT. How do we say that? Slipcert. I don't know how I'm supposed to say that. Imagine this going across the world to different countries. Well, it does go across the world to different countries. But yeah, some places are not going to know what a Hemi Bago is or a Winnebago. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's cool. It seems like a bunch of you guys are familiar with Tommy and his Hemi Bago, so that's cool. That's cool. So, what are you sipping on tonight, Tommy? SLP, Street Legal Performance. There you go. Street Legal Performance, SRT, as in Charger, SRT or SRT Mopar. Huh. Mike Oxlong, welcome along. Good to have you here, mate. All right. SRT is street and racing technology. Right. Good name. Good name. Tommy Bosch's, we just launched it. It lifted the left front wheel. The video was up. I saw the video, bud. I saw it. And it did. It did pop that little puppy in the air, which is crazy. Like, yeah. It looked like it was accelerating hard in the videos. It's just makes no sense. But it's all kinds of fun. You're gonna have to take me for a ride in that thing, man. Granddad's Junk, hey, welcome along, bud. Good to have you here. Tommy Bosch's and on 93 octane. Yeah. So how much more did you tweak out of the Hellcat, Tommy? Like, is it? I know it's meant to be like 705 or something like that, out of the box. But I'm sure you don't have all that restrictive exhaust on it that would have came out of the factory, out of the Mopar with. So you're still running. I don't imagine you're running cats or anything on it, are you? Matt Kennedy, love the Hemi Bago send, especially Hammer's real-time reaction. Yeah, that was pretty good, wasn't it? David Torrey, Winnebago, is that some sort of vegetable? No. Short answer, no. LVG, the starter crapped out on the 50 shoebox, was able to bump it home. Found a replacement close to home for $300. Happy about that. Well, cool. Old timer, I've been surfing around the nation on Marketplace, and I've seen some incredible nice cars for sale reasonably. Like a 76 Trans Am 400 4-speed from a 69 Firebird dark green. 26K. It's not bad. Mexican spec Granddad's Junk. As you know, it's summer here, so just sweating. Man, it was sweating today. Took my jeans off tonight when I got home, and my jeans were wet. It's like, yeah, I just can't wear shorts in the shop, though. You just get, it's, just got to wear long pants. So, it's brutally hot. Chris Freeman, so there's a Dodge Omni GLHS for sale on Bring a Trailer 100 miles away from me. Tempting. A Dodge they made a turbo one of those things, didn't they? Is that what that is? The GLH. Someone told me that stands for goes like hell. And apparently that was a factory thing, that it was goes like hell. I don't know how true that is, or whether it's just urban myth, but apparently they were pretty rapid little cars. I don't think I've ever actually laid eyes on one in the flesh. Granddad's jug, it's warming up here. I've just woken up. Oh, nice. I'm just about ready for bed after today. It was brutal. Barracuda, hey, welcome along, bud. The other day I saw a farmer in a paddock standing very close to a sheep. I yelled out, "Are you sharing that sheep?" He shouted back, "Oh, no, get your own." Oh, the old sheep jokes. There's one or two of those around, isn't there? Mexican spec. Chris Freeman said, put a turbo in your car and have the same. Oh, yeah, man, you'll swap it too. Well, yeah. Chris Freeman, yep, GLHS stands for goes like hell, s'more. Some more. Carroll Shelby engineered them. He could take a Mustang or a Camaro of the same vintage. Wow, that's wild. Charles Dalton, the GLHS actually beat a 65 GT350 around the track. Those cars were awesome. Little front-wheel drive things, weren't they? Were they like all American made, or was it like some Japanese rebadged thing? Mexican spec. Yes, Mrs. Spec says we get summer and summer in a sweater. There you go. Josh Homan, yes, GLH did indeed stand for what you just said. Yeah. Yeah, goes like hell, some more. That's wild. Old timer, the heat is killing cows here. Wow. See the corn pops right off the cob in the field. The cows see it and think it's snow and stand there and freeze to death. Oh, good grief. Steve-O's good. Bourbon, indeed. Bourbon, yes. Your apple bourbon, actually. It's quite nice. Quite nice. Some Jim Beam stuff. Barracuda, what do you mean by joke? Oh, dear. That is funny. Mexican's bet. The problem with the GLH is they did it on an Omni. By the Omni was 100% American, but it started out life as a European design. Talbot, I think. Oh, wow. Sunbeam. Well, Talbot, yeah. There was a Sunbeam Talbot way back in the day, but I think Sunbeam had been swallowed, long since swallowed up by then. Granddad's junk. Kiwi, any progress on the Poly? No, mate, not a thing. Just been like really hard out on the Sunbeam. Yeah, things starting almost getting closer to having things under control in the shop, and going to have a little bit more time to focus on things like the Poly. So, yeah, well, they say good things are worth waiting for, but it remains to be seen, I guess. But yeah, it'll happen, and yeah, I think sometime in the next 6 weeks we should have some action on the program on the Poly. LVG looked a lot like a Volkswagen Rabbit. Okay. Josh Homan, the Omni was a logical platform for the GLH package. It was easy to make a small car go fast. There you go. Exactly. That's always a good. Well, that's how kind of hot rodding started. Like, wouldn't it? Really, when you think about it, small car, big engine. You know, small car being like a chopped down 32 Ford and that kind of thing. So yeah, rather than a Cadillac Coupe de Ville, Tony Clifton, hello, Kiwi from Melbourne, Australia. Well, hey, good to have you along, man. Thanks for dropping in. Chris Freeman, so whatever Chrysler's European brand was back then. Yeah, good question, actually. I don't actually know. Josh Homan, a Diplomat GLH might have been a bit treacherous. Yes, could well have been. Yes, a Turbo Diplomat. Mexican spec. Josh Homan, yes, but the car itself was a chunk with not only the door handles breaking off, both interior and exterior. This is an educated opinion. Sounds like a man who's owned one. Barry Cooter, have you heard of a chap with the name of Walter Wall? He owns a carpet shop. Okay, I think I'm missing something here. Walter Wall carpet. Okay, yeah, now I get it. Just took a moment. Slow. You see, I'm sun-baked, or at least heat-baked. You can't expect the brain to be processing things too fast. But yeah, yes. No, your other joke was funnier, mate. But that's still not bad. David Torrey, if things are under control, you're not going fast enough. Yes. Spoken like a man who's competed in motorsport. Josh Homan, yes, I'm familiar with door handles coming off cars routinely. Tavo, Simca Talbot, they became simply Chrysler Europe. Huh. Okay, did not know that. Tony Clifton, building a Chrysler Centura with a 360 and a 9-inch out back. A Chrysler Centura. Now that I have no idea what that looks like. What is that car? Chrysler Centura. Never heard of that. Josh Homan, Simca in continental Europe, roots in Hillman in Britain. Wow, I didn't know Simca ever had a Chrysler connection. There you go, you learn something every day. Mexican spec. Josh Homan, I avoided the Omnis and Chargers when I was buying and selling cars. It wasn't worth the time to fix all the problems with them. Wow. Tommy Boches, I love a Pinto. Tommy Boches loves a Ford Pinto? I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Not everybody's first choice, but hey, you like what you like. Good on you, man. Thanks for coming out of the closet and admitting that deep down you love Fords. So good to know. Good to know. Mexican spec. Kiwi, I don't judge a car on one example, but rather seeing them at a dealer auctions and what the common problems are with them. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, nobody, that's what you have to do. That's the smart way to do it, because all the different manufacturers have problem childs, have that black sheep model that, has all sorts of problems. Nobody, none of the big manufacturers never made a mistake. Like, they've all had cock-ups and just dreadful cars. So, yeah. Tommy Boches, that may be the bourbon talking. Yeah. I mean, colour me shocked for you to actually say in a public forum that you like Fords is that's a big deal. Josh Homan, yes, smaller cars always seem built down to a price. Well, that's typically the formula, isn't it? Yeah. Chavo, Centura is a Chrysler 180. Looks like a big Hillman Avenger. Okay. With the 6 added to the nose. With 6 inches, added to the nose for the Hemi 6. Huh. Actually, that does kind of ring a bell. The Hillman Avenger and the Centura. Okay. That does kind of bring up a flickering little memory in the back of my head somewhere of a Centura being, yeah. Now it comes to me. But man, that's a long time ago. I don't know whether I've ever seen one or whether we just heard about them being in Australia. How did that car handle, Tavo, with that big long 6-cylinder hanging out the front of a Hillman Avenger? That doesn't, I don't know if they added 6 inches. Did they add it into the wheelbase, or they just put a longer snout on it? That's a lot of engine out the front of a Hillman Avenger. Barracuda, Simca Matra V12 F1 cars in the 70s. Well, yep, there is that. They were amazing, weren't they? Mexican Spec, Tommy Bosch's Pintos are great. Simplicity is very attractive. Indeed, indeed. Tony Clifton, Centura is like a TD Cortina, Kiwi. Also, why is the rotary scene so big in New Zealand? Their builds are beyond belief. Yes, it's pretty wild, isn't it? Those 5-rotor. I think I've seen that Mad Mike with a 5-rotor making phenomenal horsepower. And they sound just insane. Why is it so big in New Zealand? I don't know. I mean, I'm not there to really have sort of first-hand opinion on that, but I really don't know. Some of the other guys on the Kiwis on here might be able to shed some light on that, but Mad Mike is a bit of a phenomenon, and but yeah, if any of you are wondering what we're talking about in the rotaries, like go on YouTube and look for Mad Mike, and he's building some just insane rotaries, huge horsepower. And then I've also seen, I'm not sure who did it or where it was done even, but a 12-rotor, and that's basically three 4-rotor rotaries. Kind of when you look at the front of it, it's almost like a triangular shape. It's like one, try and do this for the camera, 1, 2, 2, and then 3, like an inverted triangle sort of shape. And then all going out one drive shaft at the back through some far out transmission, kind of a little bit like the tractor pulling dudes, when they put the multiple engines in, kind of that sort of thing. But 12-rotor. I can imagine the gas bill. Wow. Chris Freemasser, Omnis and Horizons were disposable cars. Nobody took care of them. Same with the Escort or Chevette or whatnot. Hey, I tell you what, Escorts and Chevettes in England, they are worth a fortune. Definitely not throwaways anymore. The Mark 1 and Mark 2 Escorts, they're being remanufactured. You can buy brand new body shells for them over in England, and hugely popular. A whole streetcar scene, not just, they're doing some of the shells for rally and stuff like that, but there's a huge following of in the streetcar world and kind of hot. It's sort of their version of a hot rod in a way, but, they're putting all sorts of different engines in them. Not typically, like LS swapping, stuff like that, but, various, twin cam, 2.5 litre 4 cylinders and stuff like that with all sorts of cleverness in them, turbos and various things. And some very nice cars. Tavo, Chrysler Australia assembled Simca here from the late 50s, even developed an Australian-only station wagon of the Aronde. I knew Simca's French, wasn't it, originally? Mexican Spec, 82, 87 Cavaliers had problems with rack and pinions. You knew that when you bought one. Oh, well. Barracuda, Chrysler of France. Okay, yep, I knew they were French. Didn't realise it was a division of Chrysler, though. There you go. Granddad's Junk. Yeah, there's a large rotary following here. Yeah. Tava, handled quite well until you wanted to go around a corner at any speed. It was just a bulge between the headlights. The grille jutted out. Okay, that would make for a nose-heavy car. LVG, Tommy Boshin, saw a Pinto holding its own back in the day at Ontario. The 2-litre was great once you opened the secondaries on the carb. Tommy came back with, you need more to drink. It could well be the case. Mexican Spec, drive-away misfits. True, but with the Omni, it didn't matter if you took care of them. The flimsy plastic interior door handles snapped off and the pot metal exterior handles followed suit. Well, that would suck. Nothing worse than a car you can't get into or out of. Granny's saying all those Mazda rotary cars are collectible and getting big money for them. Oh, yeah, they are, especially like the RX-3 coupes and stuff like that. big money, big money. Like I've seen them going for 60, 70,000 bucks. And yeah, when we were rallying them and trashing them and firing them off into the forest, they were, $2,000-3,000 cars. Wasn't a big deal. But now, ooh. Chris Freeman, the European Escort was totally different beast than the US Escort. Okay, ours was a shitbox on 4 wheels, but Ford sold tons of them. Okay. Josh Homans, Europeans like small cars, Americans not so much. No, well, it's horses for courses. If you go and drive some of the roads in Europe, you'll quickly come to understand why they like small cars. The roads are very narrow, winding, blind, and big cars are not really a good option. And of course, the price of gas is so high, like very high. So the big gas guzzlers were, really reserved for the rich and famous. The people that didn't care what it cost to fill up. But for your average guy on wages, like a big 5 litre and more, 300 cubic inches plus engines were just not an option. You just couldn't afford to run them. Mexican spec Kiwi, yeah, they're saying the same thing. That was a very different Escort than the US spec car. The only good Escort was the 91, 96 Escort GT with the Mazda engine. There you go. Kim fixes things. Well, hey, welcome along. Good to have you here. Tony Clifton, Kiwi. My wife and I are travelling to Christchurch later this year. My sole reason is to see the man and his legendary bike, Mr. John Britton. He has a museum located there. Yes, John Britton was a complete genius, to the point that he was like almost a little off center. He was one of those guys that were just so intelligent that he was, as I say, almost, sounds harsh, but that's not meant to. But he was like almost a little eccentric, a little, but a very, very clever guy, and did some amazing things with motorbikes. So, yeah, that would, if I ever get down to Christchurch again, I would love to go and see that museum. Would be well worth seeing. Surprisingly, nobody's made a movie about him, actually. But yeah, world's fastest Indian, obviously, that is, one of the, where my mind goes to when I think of John Britton as well, because just another super clever mainlander. And there has been a few of them. Danny Boyd's in the house. Welcome along. All right. Your Kiwi slang should confuse the hell out of Tommy Bosch's, I suspect. We'll see. Barracuda Kiwi, have you ever seen the 1966 French movie, A Man and a Woman? It's a love story with Mustangs in the Monte Carlo Rally, the Le Mans race, and the GT40s. I have not. So it's a French movie. No, A Man and a Woman. Huh. Love stories aren't typically my bag for movies. It's not usually enough bloodshed and action and stuff like that in the old love stories. But Mustangs and the Monte Carlo GT40s, that's a good start. Phil Dodge Fury, welcome along, bud. Good to have you here. Just filling out the census. Okay. That time again. Tony Clifton, does anybody really know the difference between 318 and a 318 Fireball? I'd have to be honest and say no, I don't. I don't believe I believe there's very, very little difference, as in just a slight difference in the cam grind. But I could be well wrong there. That's what comes to mind. But yeah, not being a LA expert, I'm not sure. But I do remember the Fireball, as a kid, and my dad having a few of those Mopars, and I do remember the Fireball and thinking that was pretty cool. Cool name when you're like 10. Mexican speak. Hi, Kim fixes things. Any progress on the Cherokee? Fingers crossed. Fair enough. Kim fixes things. The replacement PCM is set to arrive tomorrow, so nothing yet. Well, it all takes time. My transmission for the Alpine was meant to arrive today, and as of like 6:30 tonight, FedEx said it was still getting delivered, and I'm like, goodness me, I hope they don't deliver it and leave it outside overnight. That would be unfortunate. Brand spanking new TKX. Tommy Bosch's, the size of the flames. There you go. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the word from the horse's mouth. He's the Mopar guru. So if he says it's bigger flames, it's bigger flames. Barracuda, I discovered recently that my 69 VF Valiant Regal would have had the Fireball 318 with 230 horse instead of the 210 horsepower version. Tavo might like to have the last say on that. There you go. Oh, Tavo, you're on form, mate. That was a John Denver song, wasn't it? You fill out my census. Close, but no cigar. Yeah, that's pretty funny, though. Tavo, that would be absolutely correct, Barry. So how did they get the extra 20 horsepower, Tavo? Was it just the cam grind, or did they actually get a little bit deeper than that? Chris Freeman said, don't put it past FedEx to leave it outside your shop. I tell you what, it'll be, I can only hope, if it is, I hope it's still there in the morning, because it's a transmission, clutch, bell housing, everything, hydraulics, the whole deal. It's like, yeah, $4,000 worth. I hope they don't leave it outside. But I don't. I imagine it's probably going to require a signature. I'm hoping. We'll see. We'll see. If it's gone, someone's going to have to send me another one. Jeff Hutchins, Mexican speak. Kim fixes things. I always ask, 96 was a weird year for XJs. They had a lot of PCM issues. Yeah, I remember when Tony, Uncle Tony was messing around with his one, that they tried several PCMs to actually get one that worked. That was a bit of a problem. I remember Dr. Art saying they were just junk. Barracuda. I can recommend other love stories for you, Kiwi. Oh, goodness, I'm not sure about all the hearts and the kissy lips, but hey. Yes, indeed. No, mate, good action movie. That's what I like. Tommy Bosch's, how long has it been since you drove your Mustang? Ooh, a while. Too long, actually. Too long. Put it this way: if I need to drain the gas out of it and put fresh gas in it before I run that motor on old gas. So yeah, too long. I need a reason to get it out, and if it starts to cool down. If it starts to cool down a bit, and I get a bit of spare time, I might actually dust it off and take it to a Cars and Coffee or something, because it's been too long. It's don't know, just too busy at the moment, and life's just rocking by at a rapid rate. Jeff Hutchins, Tavo, I've definitely heard that song. Tony Clifton, as a kid working in a servo, I changed a spare for a customer on an AP6 Valiant, and the nuts were so tight. Oh, here we go. I know where this is going. We're so tight I couldn't get them off. Ended up snapping two of them until I realised the left-hand thread. Oops, yeah. Mate, that's caught so many people out. So many people out over the years. Yeah. Tavo, it's actually a mystery where the 20 netties came from. I do believe the cam overlap was altered, but no extra duration. The Fireball in the VF also had a steel crank, as opposed to the 210 being cast. Interesting. Mexican spec, Tommy Bosch's, have you driven a Ford lately? That's a good question. Tommy painted a Mustang for me recently, so he probably drove that one, but probably just around the yard. Oh, and by the way, Tommy, that customer, that lady, is she's thrilled with her car, absolutely in love with it. So, job well done. Chris Freemesser, Barracuda. I can vouch for Barracuda's unwarranted amorous advances. Tommy Bosch's, would it be considered a barn find? Just about, mate. Just about. Just about. Tavo, just flicked you a pic via email, Kiwi. There you go. That's an offer I don't get every day. Barracuda, Tavo, for years I thought the only VF VGs that had the 230 horsepower were the VIPs. Weren't the VIPs a nice car? And they were a nice car. Susan Drinkcrow, will you ever come back to New Zealand to live? Oh, it's a definite possibility, yeah. Yeah, it's a definite possibility. But when, that's another question. I've still got things to do. But retiring back in New Zealand is definitely, that's on the potential options list. But, built a very good, strong network here, lots of friends, and, there's that's the trouble with moving around the world, is you end up with strong ties to different places, and you can't be in two places at once. So it's tricky. Tavo, Barracuda, do you recall if the engine was red or turquoise? Tony Clifton, have you ever worked on an EV car, mate? My boss won't even consider it. No, never worked on an EV, and I really don't see it happening. Two parts for that. One is that, I've got no desire to, and two, I don't know anything about them. Why would you bring an EV to me to work on? That would be foolish from the customer's point of view, because I'd be like, I don't know. Jeff Hutchins, Tony's with PCM problems was a 96. Yeah, that's what I thought. Vilefly buzzes around the kitchen aimlessly. Barracuda red. Oh, yeah. Mexican spec, unwarranted. You were egging him on. There you go. Good evening, Vilefly. Good to have you in here. Buddy Caro, as a kid working in the garage, I filled the oil without putting the drain plug back in. What's all that oil on the ground? Where did that come from? Ooh, Tommy Bosch's 71 Super Cobra Jet Torino. Well, yes, that's that's a beast of a car, isn't it? It's a beast of a car. What are you buying one, Tommy? Is that going to be your next? Is that going to be the new project after the Hemi Bago? Oh, knowing you put a Hemi in the dang thing. Tavo, Barracuda red in the VF would be a 210. 230 was turquoise, but both were red in the VG. Good Lord, you've got a lot of information in that skull of yours, Tavo. That's a lot of information. Vilefly, I need to find another campy movie to watch. Oh, I've got one. What was it called? What was that Australian movie? That narrows it down, doesn't it? Right, an Australian movie. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. You should watch that if you're looking for a campy movie, Vilefly. go and look for Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. You'll recognise a couple of people in it, I would think, that they've gone on. It's an old movie now, but they've gone on to make lots of movies in America. A couple of them. One of the guys in it was in. Oh God, I've gone blank. Anyway, they've moved on to mainstream movies in the States from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. But you should definitely take a look at that. Susan Drinker, have you seen Mad Mike's latest project? Old F1 car with a 5-rotor for drifting. Oh, good grief. How on earth would you drift an F1 car? I mean, with the 5-rotor would help for sure, but how, I guess they've redone all the front suspension because F1 cars have very little lock from left to right. They just don't have much turning, they have a massive turning circle because they're not designed to oversteer. But I'm sure he's figured a way around that. Volfly, I might go with Chinese Super Ninja tonight. Mate, promise me to take a look at Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. It's such an Australian movie. It's a great movie. And definitely camp. Now, Buddy Caro, I cleaned mess while getting screamed at. Oh dear, that doesn't sound good. No. Now, Beagle Bob, does anyone understand the advantage of torque to angle for bolts? Got the oil clearance checked and the crank bolted in on the Friends LS3 this weekend. They are torque to spec plus degrees. Oh, Volfly, you've seen it. Oh, well, okay. Never mind. Well, I mean, it's good that you've seen it, but yeah. Now, back to Beagle Bob. No, I mean, honest answer, actually, not really. The advantage of torque to it has a lot, as far as I know, it has a lot to do with the material that the bolts are made of. And how much they actually twist and how much they're designed to twist and how much they're designed to stretch and stuff like that. One of the things it does do is it does away with the old school issue of having to re-torque cylinder heads, because the stretch in the bolt basically continues to hold the pressure down even when the gaskets start to settle a little bit from heat cycling. So you don't have to re-torque them, which was the manufacturers love that. But it's very much. I mean, it's everything is that stretch bolts now. So they have to be better, but exactly why I'm not really sure. But sorry, unless there's someone else here does. Chris Freemus of Volfly, not really campy, but have you ever seen Looker? Jeff Hutchins, good to have you here, mate. Charles Dalton, Volfly, camping movie, Return to Macon County, Hot Rod, and the California Kid. 3 top campy car movies. Hot Rod and California Kid I've seen, but I haven't seen Return to Macon County. William Burns, welcome along. Tommy Boschers, would you bring the Mustang to the track when we take the Hemi Bago? Ooh, yeah, possibly, yeah. Possibly, yeah. It's I just got to dust it off, really. Yeah. Oh, we need to talk about that. When are you taking it to the track? Tavo, 80% of my brain is full of Valiant info. That's why I'm pretty hopeless at anything else. Yeah, well, you can. Yeah, maybe that file's taking up a little too much space, but hey. It's all good. Volfly, drag queen movie, if I recall. Yes, you recall correctly. But yeah, when you mix drag queens and the hard Aussie blokes from the outback, it's a humorous mix. Brad Eastman, The Matrix. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Tony Clifton. I owned an early Mini when it rained. It just stopped. I could never understand, and finally sold it to a mate. He found out that the dizzy points straight down under the motor and rain kills it. Yes, they used to sell special rainwater shields for all those BMCs that had the spark plugs and the distributors pointing right behind the grill with not even a radiator in between, because the radiator was off to the side. So yeah, you could look through the grill and you could count the spark plugs. They were right there. So yeah, they didn't like rain. Barry Cootie, you might like Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, that's not a campy movie. That is a certain kind of movie, but it's not campy. I wouldn't have thought it was. No. Tavo, any bolt just has to be good and tight. German talks. Gunner Y1Y, good evening or welcome along, bud. Good to have you here. Tony Clifton, if I stopped playing table tennis after watching, I stopped playing table tennis after watching Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. The movie ruined it for me. That's right. I remember her firing ping pong balls. Yes, that's a thing. Beagle Bob, a pony racing the barn. Yes. It could be interesting, couldn't it? Jeff Hutchins, my uncle tells the story of being a kid and filling his 442 full of oil, but actually all over the floor of my grandpa's garage. Drain plugs matter. They do indeed. Oh dear. Yeah, it's such a mess and such a waste. Like, you can't pick the oil up again. Like, it's like, oh man. Very cool. Tavo, are you familiar with twin carb Honda XR 500s? I learned something about them this week that I never realized. Certainly I didn't. Jeff Hutchins, the best torque rating is right before it strips the threads. Well, yes. Charles Dalton, old mechanic, taught me the trick to forgetting the drain plug. Just tell him you're flushing the engine. Oh, that's a stretch. Brad Eastman, ice cream lid sorts a Mini out. Well, yeah, that would probably work to some extent. Tommy Bosch's in about a month, working out dates with the track now. Okay, well, let's keep talking, man. Let's keep talking. Volfly, I think I got Mexican Spec to watch Life Force based on the book, The Space Vampires. Huh. Mexican Spec, we haven't had time to watch it yet, but we'll soon. You sold it so well. David Torrey, how do you forget the drain plug? Yeah. It just happens. Yeah, distractions, phone calls. Someone says, hey, calls you away, and it happens. I don't think I've done it. Actually, it might be a lie. I know I've seen oil coming out from under the car that shouldn't have been, but honestly, I can't remember why it was. I did have a lot of oil coming out under a Thunderbird. I had a 57 Thunderbird in the shop, and we put a rebuilt engine in it. The company built the engine for me and fired it up, and it just took the rope seal straight out of it. They did something wrong, but yeah, the rope seal exited, and so did a lot of oil. We were just kind of running it, just doing that little 20-minute cam break-in, and 5-10 minutes into that, and it's like, why is there oil coming out past the front tire? Oops. So, yeah, it was pouring out the rear main. So maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Not sure. Tony Clifton, Barracuda, mate, I just sold a 98 XR 600 with genuine 2,800, 50K. I had awful troubles having the strength to kick it over from cold. Got my $3,500 back at least. So there you go. Volflow, I'll hold my tongue about spoilers, okay? David Torrey, ask anybody who works at a Jiffy Lube. Yeah, there's a few stories about them, isn't there? Brad Eastman, Brokeback Mountain was a camping movie where they smoked wieners, I believe. That would be a way of describing it, yes. Yeah. Mexican speak, you get distracted by lots of things. Well, true. Tommy Boschers, do you have any wheelie bars lying around? No, not something that I have, no. I wasn't lifting a wheel. Oh, mind you, at the track, you're going to have a bit more traction, aren't you? That's probably smart thinking, actually. Yeah, you get a bit more grip under that thing. Once that momentum starts going up, it'll probably keep going up. You wouldn't want that to get you wouldn't want it to get the wheels very high and come back down again, would you? Asking for a friend. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible that you could need them. It's not impossible, but it'd be interesting. Something else might break though. Oh well, I guess that's why we go hot rodding, isn't it? Just see what we can break and then fix it. Barracuda, well, apparently the twin carbs have a progressive linkage. They operate on one carb until you really turn the throttle hard. Huh. Like a lot of twin full barrel setups on V8s. Firefly, the Chinese Super Ninja movie is also called 5 Element Ninjas, has some hilarious fight scenes on it. I've never been able to get into that like ninja kung fu type fighting that they do. It's like, it just, yeah. I mean, I guess some see it as hilarious. It just doesn't work for me. Tony Clifton, see you later, everyone. I've got to go back to work. Smoko's done and dusted. I'll bet it is. Yeah, we're an hour in, so I bet it is. David Torrey, I've never forgotten to put in a drain plate. How many of you actually put an oil filter on top of the old seal? That's a trap too. Actually, that just happened a couple of days ago. Actually, end of last week, I think it was. Started screwing a filter onto a Mustang and thought something's not quite right here, and spun it off again. And sure enough, the old rubber gasket had stayed stuck to the block and come out of the old filter we took off. Which, given the state of the Mustang in question, probably wasn't that surprising, really. That was probably the first oil change it had in 20, 30 years, I'd say. It's a very, very sad old Mustang. Josh Homan, Jiffy Lube is not the only one. Name a car care chain that has a good reputation. Well, yeah, I mean, it's all about the people they employ, isn't it? Tommy Bosch says, I got you. Fords aren't fast enough to need them. There had to be a Ford dig sooner or later. Well, see, my Mustang's got such a low center of gravity, it doesn't really pick up and try and roll over backwards, There's a lot of things we can say about your Hemi Bayo, Tommy, but low center of gravity is probably not one of them. I dare to say, no disrespect intended whatsoever, but it just is what it is. Mexican speak, Jeff Hutchins. Well, it rains most of the time in England. Well, yeah, you'd think they'd have done a better job of waterproofing those engines, but hey, they didn't. Tavo, late 80s, I used to do 2 evening shifts a week at a servo. A girl pulled up driving a Tirana, popped the bonnet and started tipping in bottle after bottle of engine oil. Remember the old glass ones? Yes. Yes. Gosh, that's a while ago. Well, late 80s, apparently. Why does it need so many bottles of oil? Not like a Holden would have been burning oil, is it? Really? Chris Freemess, I heard a mechanic say once that he could tell which quick oil change place a car had been to by the colour of the RTV covering the stripped out drain plate. I did swap out an oil pan on a Mustang where they JB welded the drain plug in. It was covered, like just you couldn't really. There was just a lump where the drain plug was, but it was just completely buried in JB weld. Tavo with the conical top. Yep. After a few, I went out to stop her. She said the oil light came on and was filling it up again, as in literally full. Oh no! Oh, good grief! Wow. I'm sure you looked after her, Tavo. Barracuda, that's something else I learned. The XR became 600 cc's all by way of longer stroke. There you go. See? Yetis, chocolate muffins, and XR 600s. Volfly, there is one scene in that movie that shows one captured ninja courted by four brothers pull apart a red painted straw man with a snap sound. I laughed so hard at age 18. Mexican Spec, I honestly thought Tony Clifton passed with Andy Kaufman. Okay, not sure what that's about. You lost me there. Jeff Hutchins, Mexican Spec. Yeah, I was being sarcastic. Hard to tell without my tone in person. Yeah, there you go. I see. The brothers, Firefly, the brothers in the movie look like elves. Okay. David Torrey, no, I haven't left the old gasket on. Yeah, it's happened to me a couple of times. I've always caught it. But yeah, because they screw on weird. Like as you start to tighten them, you can tell it's all squishy. There's too much rubber there. But for someone who changes their oil once a year, done it very often, it would catch you out pretty easy. Mexican Spec. What did Chevy have to compete with the Mustang Boss 429? Yeah, Volfly 427, I think. The Boss 429, that was a hell of an engine. I don't think a 427 would have stayed with it. Josh Heyman, probably some SS model with a 427. Well, I mean, the LS, what was it, LS6? 454 SS, that was a hell of a motor. Volfly, not sure if the aluminum block 427 ZL1 was specifically made to go after the Boss 429. No, I'm not sure. Barracuda, a young woman at a service station came up to me with a tyre inflator and asked if I knew where the air goes in. Well, at least she was trying, I guess. Mrs. Kiwi usually ends up at my place when she's got low tyre pressure. She'll say, "You at work?" And I'm like, of course, the answer is yes. And yeah, next thing you know, she's there at the door. It says, the dash says one of my tyres is low. I'm like, okay. I'm saying that she could do it herself, but it's just easy to come and see me. Tavo, Barracuda, that's a rare one. Most don't bother or know about tyre inflation. Well, there is that. David Tyree, I'm full of self-doubt, so I double and triple check things. Has worked so far. Yep, well, that was, man, when I first went to work, the workshop foreman said to me, check, double check. No, check, recheck and double check your recheck. So, not terrible advice. Dean Stevenson, light 32.5 has arrived in the chat. Please remain calm. Kiwi alert. Oh, dear. Dino Stevenson. Barfly, dinner is afoot. Be right back. Okay. Driveway of Misfits. Do you charge Mrs. Kiwi standard shop rates when working on her car? Yeah, with the hours gone into that Alpine, that'd be a big bill. That'd be a big bill. But no, I never tried doing that. I pretty good idea what the answer would be. So yeah, it would probably be fairly colourful, I suspect. Yeah. Barracuda. She has been travelling to work every day on that tie from Cromwell to Queenstown, a very tight, busy, winding road with cliffs to the side. Yeah, it is too. Cromwell to Queenstown, yeah. Wow. Beagle Bob, Wildfly, a foot is more of a meal than last week's ibuprofen, I suppose. Mexican Spec. The fact that we don't know what specific car competed with the Boss 429 Mustang is the point. Well, it is the point. You're right, sir. Buddy Cara had a friend open a radiator and burnt himself real bad. Mate, I burnt my hand a bit today, like popping a bottom hose off. And the car wasn't cooled down quite as much as I thought it was. Yeah, that made me, because the damn thing didn't have a freaking drain on the radiator, so I had to pop the bottom hose off. And yeah, that got me. Hasn't blistered, but it's a bit red. Jeff Hutchins, I used to think the all-filter gasket sticking was a myth. I've never had it happen. I always coat the gasket in oil. Then it happened on the battle berm. I always check. Excuse me. I always check for it anyway. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does happen. Not very often. I think the other day when that was the third time it had ever happened to me. And that's in a lot of years. A lot of years. Mexican Spec, Barracuda. It happens. The last time with me, the overflow tank got me. Yeah. Mexican Spec, Kiwi. Tony Clifton was a character. Andy Kaufman played. Oh, okay. It was a joke on everybody. Okay, I'm with you. I got it now. Aha. Didn't realise that. Barracuda, I learned years ago that you can't trust the gauge on a service station air pump. They get dropped too often. Yeah, well, that's probably some truth to that. Dean Stevenson, Mexican. Oh, here we go. What is this? Mexican taco, cactus, maracas, and salute. Okay. I think he's being nice to you, Mexican. I think he is. That'd be my guess. Chavo, since my dad opened the FJ radiator while hot, I'm very careful opening them. I was 6 at the time. Glove and rag after at least 10 minutes sitting time. Yeah. Dean Stevenson, Mrs. Ecstasy is driving me around till I'm legal. The pain pills and antibiotics are awesome. There you go. David Tyree, have any of you guys seen the woman on YouTube wandering around an EV trying to figure out where to put the petrol? Oh, no. I have not. I have not. I do remember posting a picture on Facebook years ago, and it was this very attractive young lady filling a Camaro up with gas, which, you know, every Camaro needs filling with gas, but she was putting it in by the back wheel. It was a staged photo, and but it's like, what's wrong with this picture? And Yeah, a few people picked it up that the gas filler's under the license tag and number plate. And it didn't show where she was putting it in exactly in the side, but you could tell she was putting it into the side of the car. We would assume that maybe it was she was pretending to fill it and had it poked in somewhere around the wheel arch. But yeah, at least that was deliberate, Dean Stevenson from your dental. Chris Freemus is asking Dean Stevenson from your dental, probably, yeah. Taco, cactus, maracas, and avocados. Tacos, cactus, maracas, yep, and avocados. How is that smiley face an avocado? Okay, I don't get the last one, but Yes, I'm Dr. Teeth for 4 weeks. Ouch. Tavo, that incident and his words stuck well in my mind. Yes, I'm sure he swore like a good Aussie trooper. Yeah. Old car discovered 426 Hemi reverted to the Elephant. Handy. That is what Ford built the 429 to compete against. Actually, yeah, you might be right there. Was coming to compete against Chrysler. Okay, Mr. Speck, there you go. You've been told. I think he's right, actually. I think Ford did build that engine to compete with the 426 Hemi. Gene Stevenson, dental, mental, rental, driveway of misfits. There you go. Lane Conley, welcome along. The purpose of the Boss 429 Mustang was to homologate the Boss 429 engine for use in NASCAR, just the engine, not the car. The Boss 429 Mustang was an awful car, way too nose heavy. Yeah, it would have been a little bit. Dean Stevenson, he's Mexican. Avocados are protected imports. Jeez. Barracuda, I learned something else. If I found gold on my property or anywhere, it belongs to the government. I don't have to give it to them and get nothing for myself. Same with silver or oil. Really? Well, that sucks. David Torrey. What about the woman who wanted to know what the 710 cat was for? I had to think for a moment, then it came back to me. Yes, upside down oil. 710, indeed. Mexican speak. Yes, but I asked about the Chevy. That's true, he did. Buddy Cara, head customer with a 56 Chevy, no clue. Gas fill was in tail light, pumping gas as a kid. Yes, that was kind of cool the way those tail lights lifted out like that. That was cool. Gene Stevenson, just lucky they put aluminum heads on the Boss 4. Oh, imagine if they were cast heads like the Hemi. That'd be heavy. Barracuda, I understand that more than some states in the US claiming rainwater belongs to them. Wow. Rainwater belongs to the state. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one in the High Court, wouldn't it? Dean Stevenson, alluvial gold can be procured legally if you do it under the cover of darkness. That sounds shady. Now, who sent me a picture? Someone sent me. Let me have a look here. Hang on. Hang on. Where's my thing? Where's my emails gone? Tavo. What do we got here? The Centura. Oh, yeah. I have seen that before. I'll see if I can show you guys. Oh, the nose is not that much longer, is it really? Huh. That is the Centura, which is the Hillman Avenger based something with a 245 Hemi in it. Probably quite a lively little runner with the size of the car. And it's not a big car. Huh. There you go. Now you know. Jeff Hutchins, my buddy, sent his older sister 15 miles to the Honda dealer to get her muffler bearings checked out. She was not amused when she got back. I remember when I first got to the States, I was messing about with HVAC for a while. I worked for a buddy of mine. We were doing HVAC, and we actually sent Mrs. K in. We were sort of caught on a job, and she went to kind of help us out. And she had to get some canned smoke, which is a real thing. They have cans of smoke in HVAC, and that's, you blast it in where you're trying to find a leak. It's like smoke testing a car, but they give you canned smoke. And she, we swore black and blue that it was a real thing, and she thought she was getting muffler bearinged, or blinker fluid, but yeah, she eventually went, we convinced her, and she went and got some. But yeah, that was pretty funny. She was, she thought she was getting set up, but 15 miles to the Honda dealer, that's pretty cruel. That's a pretty mean. You'd be grumpy about that. Tavo, Barracuda, how much petrol do you dump on the road after filling the VH, or do you have one of those very rare caps that seals properly? Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. Dean Stevenson, you could mow it up with your Victor Barracuda. Charles Dalton, speaking of oil filters, bought an oil, counterman asked at filter, I said the car didn't have one. He said all cars do. I had to explain it's a 31 Model A. No, yeah, that's a younger guy's statement, isn't it? No, oil filters weren't on all cars, even into the 50s, I don't think. Or was it the 40s? I seem to remember some 50s cars didn't have oil filters was an option. Dean Stevenson, reverse titration via cyanide and leach is a great way of getting the gold out. Nothing like playing with cyanide. Dean Stevenson, you're a worry. If you have a lot of coconuts, you can mop up the gold without mercury. Okay. Tavo, I thought it would jog the memory. Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, you're right. All right. Jeff Hutchins, my 52 Willys pickup doesn't have an oil filter. Got to use non-detergent oil and has a floating pickup. I had a 49 Buick that had a floating pickup, the straight 8 that had a floating pickup. Yeah. Seems like quite a good idea, really. Mexican speak. Charles Dalton, did you say, okay, please look it up? Please look it up on my 31 Model A. He should have done, shouldn't he? Dean Stevenson, the Commonwealth, a law unto itself. Well, yeah. David Tyree, blinker fluid must be a real thing. I've seen it on some cars. Yeah. Barracuda Tavo, I've never been very keen on the behind the number plate filler. It seeps fuel and gets dirty and horrible to touch. I don't think it's ever leaked a lot of fuel. Yeah, just a low filler neck like that, really. Mustangs are prone to spitting fuel out the back too. Somebody's making a filler neck for them that's got like a one-way valve in it that's supposed to stop the surge, so the cap doesn't really, have to work. But even new caps and that, they still don't work that well. Josh Homan, regardless of country, it's a rip-off. Governments everywhere are surprisingly similar in that regard. Interesting. Dean Stevenson, 55 and 56 chefs had 9 either. 9 either? What does that mean? Jeff Hutchins, my city charges you for the rain that runs off your property. What? Seriously? Surely not. How can they measure that? Charles Dalton. I figured he was trying to be helpful because he's likely seen all kinds of customers. Probably. But boy, I was tempted. Yeah, I bet. Mexican speak, there must be a big bill where you live, indeed. Buddy Caro, boss tried sending me to parts store to get a water pump for a Volkswagen Beetle. Good thing I knew it was air cooled. Oh, that sort of thing's been going on for forever, hasn't it? Mexican speaking, you should have. It would have been a lesson he would not forget. True enough. Barracuda, I read that the gold thing is the same in America and probably everywhere. So what about those guys? What was that program, Gold Rush, where they were always on you? They paid for claims and stuff, didn't they? But people do make a living out of finding gold. So I wonder how that works. Jeff Hutchins, Mrs. Kiwi ain't no dummy, or Kiwi has blessed her with too many pranks and learned suspicion from experience. I think it may be the latter, I suspect. Could well be the latter. And to be also, no, she's no dummy. David Tyree, Barracuda, you should get an HQ through HZ Holden. No problem with filler on them. There you go. I can't see that happening, David, somehow. I think Barracuda's a Mopar man to the end. Tavo, same with the gold here in Oz, but as for rainwater, we must have a tank on new builds to catch water, and that has to be plumbed into at least the toilet. They also suggest the laundry. There you go. Volfly clings to a smoked rib. Very nice. Pulls out a fork and knife. Getting busy. Barracuda, I remember a little boy seeing me filling the VH and he said to his father, Dad, look where his petrol goes in. It's behind the number plate. Yeah. He was paying attention. Good on. Beagle Bob, Barracuda, in the US, you can separate mineral rights from surface rights with land. If there is no court-recorded mineral rights, sale, or lease, the owner owns all water, oil, metals, etc. Yeah, you got to know your legal stuff here in the States. I know that. Jeff Hutchins, yeah, Mexican speak. They've also quadrupled the cost in 12 years. Wow. Scammed by the government. Yeah, they're always grabbing. They're always grabbing for more. Fly, I may not be able to gnaw on the bones, but I will have satisfaction. Lane Conley, got to find a skyhook for the snipe hunt. What are you talking about, Lane? Find a skyhook for the snipe hunt. I'm not that desperate, David, although in the 80s I had an HQ Monaro. Mate, I bet you wish you still had that. HQ Monaro, they're gold, aren't they? Look at that. I've caught up with the comments. Doing well tonight. Doing well. Jeff Hutchins, they charge you by the square footage of the lot, pavement, asphalt coverage, etc. Then they raise it a lot. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. They're always finding a way. Beagle Bob, lots of West Virginia and Texas have what looks like cheap land because the mineral rights have been sold to oil and gas companies. Doesn't seem so cheap when you find out there will be oil wells. Yeah, especially in your backyard, that would be a problem. My phone's beeping at me. No, nothing important. Nothing important. So, what are we going to talk about now? What's happening in the shop? Nothing new, actually. Just playing catch up. Did get the 4-link bars for the Alpine. So there's an axle housing sitting in it as we speak. No shocks or springs or anything like that, but some of that stuff's arriving tomorrow, along with this transmission, which I hope hasn't arrived yet. Hopefully it arrives tomorrow. So there'll be some progress on the Alpine coming up very soon to watch. That'll be building the rear suspension, the coilovers, and making coilover mounts and all that sort of fun stuff. So there's that coming. Should have a carburetor kit arriving tomorrow for my 67, not mine, but for the 67 Corvette I've got in there, little yellow one, butternut yellow, nice car. So we'll get that going, take that for a test drive. 327, 350 horse 4-speed, so that should be fun, a fun drive. Lane Connolly, no such thing as a snipe nor a skyhook. Okay, one of those things you used to get tasked with finding by the old guys. Okay, I'm with you. I miss that. I'm not a snipe. No such, I haven't heard of a snipe before. Skyhawk, yeah, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together there. Beagle Bob, I must confess I bought an EV last week. Oh, wow. Well, what does everyone think about that? Beagle Bob. He's taken a trip to the dark side. Actually, I do think they have their place, but it's just what that place is, I guess, is really the big discussion. Mrs. K won't have one. I teased her about putting an electric motor in the Alpine. That got a reaction, shall we say? No, she wasn't having that. That'd be like, you're in the second bedroom on the left down the hall if you're going to do that. So no, she doesn't like electric cars at all. Me, I think they're fine. I probably won't ever own one. I don't, and I say probably because never say never. In the right application, I think they're great, but in the wrong application, they suck. So if you're around town, commuting, that kind of thing, not a bad plan. David Tyree, Barracuda, hey, come on, I don't have Valiant, even a Force. Beagle Bob, if you count a push mower, oh, come on, Beagle Bob, that's not an EV. I really did think you'd gone to the dark side then. I was trying to be polite about it, but, I'm glad it's just a lawnmower, mate. Dean Stevenson, Amy Stewart, Noron Ribs version. I don't want to lose you, this good thing that I got. Bowlfly, you're a concern. David Torrey, a sniper's a bird. Okay. Beagle Bob, what transmission is it getting? I would guess TKX. You would guess correctly, sir. Yes, tall, close ratio one with the tall first and the bigger overdrive. I think it's the 0.68, something like that, overdrive. So we can run a 330 gear. So, I mean, it's just the logical choice, the TKX. It's just, it's a huge upgrade from the T5, which, strangely enough, that Swiss cheese Mustang I've got it in the shop that's almost ready for paint, or for body and paint. He's putting a T5 behind the Coyote, which I think is an interesting choice, but not my choice. I just don't really see the point in putting an 80s, 90s transmission behind a Coyote when you could put a 2020s transmission behind it that'll cope with the high RPM shifts and things like that. Supposedly the T5's been beefed up and it's going to survive the Coyote, but time will tell, I guess. The T5s, the synchros weren't as good as they could have been, and they really weren't designed for 7,500 RPM shifts. Like, the Coyote will spin to 75 easy. So, yeah, time will tell. It's the Alpine's a little bit less horsepower, a lot less weight, and it's getting the TKX. So, think about that one. Chris Freemason. So what the hell did Kev do that was so bad the UN exiled him from the Northern Hemisphere? Well, it was something he did to Donald when Donald was asleep. So, it's not a good thing. Buddy Caro, what colour are you going to paint the Alpine? It is going to be a very, very dark green, like a British racing green, but with lots of pearl and metallic in it. So it's really like a vibrant, dark, sounds like a bit of a contradiction in terms, but a very vibrant dark green. Yeah. So it should be good with a kind of an off-white cream bone sort of coloured interior. Should be nice. It'd be hell to keep clean, but, not my car, not my problem. Jeff Hutchins, we definitely do not have a water problem where I'm at. My well is hand dug, 77 years old, and never comes close to running out. Awesome. Ted Stevenson, he jabbed without consent. Did it TUTG. Gene Stevenson, Kev won't do it to a stern libertarian again. No, probably not. Brad Eastman, EV, man card revoked. There you go. Gene Stevenson, Kiwi's got to learn not to put the beak in. Well, this is right. Yes, they have a long beak. Beagle Bob, speaking of transmissions, my 10-speed is slow shifting 3 to 4. I might have to rebuild it soon before it destroys something and needs a new valve body and converter. Ooh, that sounds serious. It would be interesting to see what the inside of one of those 10-speeds look like. It's really a 5-speed with a high and low ratio, isn't it? If I've been told correctly, how it's been explained to me. They don't actually have a first through 10 gears, like 10 different gear sets. It's a 5-speed with a dual ratio that chooses, with the speed and lightning speed of the electronics, it goes like, switches between a high and low ratio, very, very quickly. But rebuilding one of those, and you'd want a handbook, wouldn't you? You'd want a workshop manual, I would think. Good Lord. Probably some special tools as well. Is that something you're going to be able to rebuild yourself, Beagle Bob? I mean, if it is, I'm impressed. Barracuda in the 90s, a 4-door HQ Monaro with a 350 Chev, the Turbo 350 Auto, competed in the classic car road racing on the Queenstown street course, and it did very well. It won most races. Wow. 350 was and anything in New Zealand, that was a big engine. It was probably up against the 302s and the 308s and stuff, so it should have had an edge. Tavo, my EVs run around a plastic track on the floor. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Buddy car, if I wanted an EV, I'd get a golf cart. There you go. Java, and a Super Snipe is a Humber. I do remember the Humber Super Snipe. Big old tank of a thing, wasn't it? Josh Oman, best place for an EV. That's definitely a solid point of view. Beagle Bob, I would consider buying a 6-cylinder car. 0 cylinders is a no-go. Good on you. Okay. Man card reinstated, then you're off the hook. I tell you what, the right 4-cylinder car are a lot of fun. You know, a smallish 4-cylinder car with a good, strong engine it can be a lot of fun. Jeff Hutchins watched a GM 6-cylinder rebuild on YouTube recently. Made a few errors. It's a no oil filter engine, probably too tight bearing clearances, and they are using 1540 diesel oil. Continued. Where did he go? Jeff Hutchins. There he is. Viscosity too high, especially for their tolerances. High detergent oil. Diesel is not for gasoline engines. No. People think seeing as it's high zinc, it's magic engine oil. It's not. No, I've never subscribed to that using diesel oil in a petrol engine or gasoline engine. Barracuda Tavo, did your 4-barrel Pacer have the factory aluminum flip top fuel filter cap on the top of the rear fender? Well, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Beagle Bob, I would imagine a T56 or something for a Coyote, especially because it will need an expensive QuickTime bell housing or similar to adapt the bolt pattern for the T5. Yes, it's got an expensive QuickTime bell housing. Yeah. Yeah, they're $1,000 a pop, those things. Ish, you know, round figures. Yeah, I mean, a TKX is all you need for a Coyote. I mean, the TKX is a 650 horse, 600 foot-pounds of torque or something. They're strong transmission. And T56 is a 6-speed, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It seems an odd one, but hey. Tavo Barracuda, yes, with a 35-gallon tank. Wow. Ooh, that'd cost some money to fill up in New Zealand now, wouldn't it? 35 gallons. What's that? Times 4. Well, that would have been imperial gallons too, wouldn't it? Like 4.3. Wow. That's 70, 100. Whew, that's a $300 fill, approximately. Charles Dalton, my wife has a 3-mile drive to work. I'd really like to talk her into an electric car, frankly. Ideal for that. Just plug it into the house, you know, your 120-volt charger overnight, and, you know, that'd top it off easy enough. And, yeah, in that respect, pretty cheap. You know, just a little Nissan Leaf would be all you need. Don't need anything, you know, no, like a fancy Tesla or anything. I must admit, we did, when Mrs. K was working about 35-minute drive from here, and obviously she was using, you know, a fair bit of gas and stuff like that. We did quickly flirted with the idea of a Nissan Leaf. They were doing some deals on them at the time. It was a few years back now. When there really wasn't anything in the way of charging stations or anything like that. You just had to charge up from your 120 volts in the house. And I kind of crunched the numbers, and it's like, okay, she's going to get to work on Thursday morning with a bit of luck, and then it'd be dead, because there wasn't enough time overnight to charge the battery back up to where it needed to be. So she was going to be using a little bit more each day than she was able to put back in overnight. So yeah, I figured it was going to make it till about Thursday. And that might have been optimistic, because Mrs. K's a lead foot, you know, like she accelerates. Yeah, there's 2 speeds, and that's stopping flat out, you know. She's a bit of a lead foot, and electric cars don't really like that. That really hurts their The same with gasoline cars, I guess, to be fair, but electric cars seem to suffer more from, if you're heavy-footed, it really destroys your range. And she is, she is a lead foot. So, yeah, we can that idea. Because I would have been the one getting the call about she didn't have enough mileage to get home, and what the hell was I going to do about it? So it's like, no, this is a bad idea. But 3 miles to work and back, that's easy. You could if you were really brave, Charles, you could actually buy her a pedal bike, couldn't you, or like a push bike, and tell her to cycle to work. It'd be good to keep her fit, if you're brave enough. Which, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but it's just a suggestion. Lane Connolly, a snipe hunt is where you are given a bag and told to capture the snipe while the others scare the snipe to you. Basically, you are left in the woods with a bag while everyone else drinks. Sounds like a good party trick. Beagle Bob, how about an electric bicycle? Well, there you go. See, that's thinking. Make a pedal. It's, good for a leg. Tell her it's good for her legs. She'll look good. If you're really brave. Tavo, Barracuda, the two went hand in hand. Could only get the E31 or E34 engines with the track pack, including the big tank. Jeff Hutchins, they have no idea why that engine has a floating pickup. They just flick it around and marvel at it. So, okay, I'll put my hand up. I don't really know what I know about the floating pickup. And what was the official word as to why they had a floating pickup? Was that to keep, so that the sediment would sit to the, go to the bottom and you'd be picking up cleaner oil off the top? Is that what that was about? I'm honestly not that sure either. Beagle Bob, Flying Wrenches has a 90-minute video, shows a full rebuild. Looks very simple, easier than a 4R70. Really? Wow. Huh. Just 10 speeds. It just sounds scary. Hang on, I shot up the page. Yeah, I lost my place. Here we go. Chuck. Weather conditions, etc. 6 months of the year, snow, toss in rain, heat, etc. Not much use. Prius, I'd like to play with one just to learn. Who knows what lesson I'll get, but yeah, sending her out on a pedal bike in the snow is probably a bad idea. But hey, it's such a small distance to go. Could work well. Beagle Bob, Charles Dalton. My wife drives about 30 miles to work. We talked about a more efficient car and we went through the math. Would take a few 100,000 miles for fuel savings to cover the cost. Wow, a few 100,000 miles. Yeah, that rules it out, doesn't it, completely? Beagle Bob, I did have a Subaru once. It was a fun drive, just a bit slow off the line. Yeah, well, yeah, they were. I mean, they've got the four-wheel drive to deal with, to drive, Tavo, I have 3 4-cylinders, 2 6-cylinders, and multiple single-cylinder engines here. No 8 cylinders at all. Why is that, Tavo? Just a Hemi 6-man through and through, huh? Barracuda, Tavo, what designation is the automatic VG Pacer hardtop that I had? E what? Good question. Chris Freemus, all 5 of our cars are 4 poppers, 4 have manual transmission, all are fun to drive in their own way. Yeah. Beagle Bob, I very rarely use 6th in my TR6060 and the Camaro. Need to be over 75 to have any power with it. Yeah. Well, 6-speed is just 2 overdrives. 5th and 6th are overdrive. So you really don't, you kind of do, but I feel with the 6-speed, you really don't have more usable gears. If they just had 1 overdrive and 5th was 1-to-1 and they'd squeezed all the other gears closer, that would be a fun transmission. I'd love a close ratio transmission. This probably goes back to my rallying days. But, you're always, battery's running low. I forgot to plug it in. Okay, bear with me, guys. I threw the cable down, didn't plug it in. Again. So if I don't plug it in, I'm going to disappear ahead of schedule. Crash, bang. So that is how long my battery lasts, about an hour and 45 minutes. There we go, back up to full brightness again. Anyway, yeah, you either need a lower rear gear or, be at least 75 to be able to actually go. So, yeah, it's I really think that T56 or the 6060 would be better with a 1-to-1 5th, overdriven 6, and then 4 gears that are, the 4 previous gears, 1, 2, 3, 4, really close together. But I don't design the transmission, so what do I know? Charles told Beagle Bob, agreed, but it would be one less oil change, no filter worries, no drain plug worries, etc. Yes, nobody ever left the drain plug, forgot about the drain plug on a Tesla, did they? Never happened. Dean Stevenson, the T5 when face played is a great shifting transmission. Ford stayed Tremec T5 and the 5.6 litre T3 AU Falcon. The Tremec 3550 didn't shift well with the twin plate clutch. The Fox Mustang guys have. Okay. When face played, I'm not sure what you mean, face played. We've got a T5 in that convertible Mustang I built for the old man back in New Zealand, and I mean that shifts just fine, but then I don't really get after it, But supposedly, if you're aggressive at high RPM shifts, the T5 doesn't like it. The synchros don't live. So I've been told. I don't know. The Fox Mustang guys have really pushed the artistry of the T5. Yeah, I just think, the TKX is just, it's like a blank sheet of paper build, they just started over. And in theory made it better, but, I guess there's going to be those that don't see it that way. And supposedly this T5 has been worked over. It's a world-class T5 that's then been upgraded from that upgrade, over and above that world-class. So what that entails, I have no idea, to be honest, but that's what the customer tells me. Dean Stevenson, like my rug, range anxiety. Yeah, well, range anxiety is a thing. Eagle Bob, I've looked at the slate truck for a commuter if it was really low $20K. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know the truck you're talking about with the plastic fenders and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. That Dean Stevenson, is better to have her cooking with gas. Indeed. Barracuda, I learned something else the other night that a W head Chev big blocks have a very unique cylinder head and combustion chamber design. Oh, they do. They most definitely do. They're an odd shaped thing. Um, Not super successful. I mean, it wasn't an engine that ran for a long time, like the small block, or the big block. The W was fairly short lived, really. Compared to a small block Chev, which just went on forever. Hard to believe they're actually getting hard to find now, a small block Chev. Well, not hard, but, a little more difficult. They just used to be everywhere. Everybody seemed to have one in the back of the garage somewhere, Now they're not quite so common. Buddy Caro won't buy an EV, but maybe a hybrid. Driveway of misfit. Slate truck has a lot of potential. No pun included. Much. Hybrid. I think that's the way of the future. To be honest, I think the hybrid is. Gosh, I've got something in my eye. It's bothering me. Yeah, hybrid is not bad. Dean Stevenson, like the Lima 430 and 462 Lincoln engines. Right. Barracuda, is my VH Ranger XL and E anything? Don't know. Charles Dalton, Kiwi, pedal to work. Do you have a couch in the shop I could sleep on? Yeah. Oh, hey, it's easy for me to be brave on the other side of a computer screen. I just give you the ideas. It's whether you run with them, mate. And I don't have to deal with the consequences. So yeah, really easy for me to come up with these good ideas. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins, yes, Kiwi, for letting the crap settle out of the oil, you want a non-detergent oil because you do not want the crap in the suspension as there is no oil fill to carry it to. That makes sense. The pickup, go away. The pickup always sucks. True enough. Of course, yeah, the detergents that help suspend the crap. So, yeah, that makes sense. Hang on, I'll skip back up the page a bit here. Dean Stevenson, the 90-degree block decks were cut with a 10 or 12-inch deck on each bank, Barracuda. Okay. Fly. Yeah, snipe. Guys, I couldn't find any. Guys, are you there? Yeah, I wonder how many people fell for that. AUDHD unfiltered. That's a mouthful. We'll just call you DHD, I think. But thanks for joining us. Floating pickup may help boxer engine oil starvation. That I don't know. Would it help oil starvation? Don't know that it would. It's not going to get the oil back there any quicker. Don't know. Not really sure. Not that familiar with the Subaru engines or the Boxer engines. Tavo VJ was the first model where every engine had an E code. Prior to that, the only the high performance options had them. Wow. Here we go. Jeff Hutchins, definition of brave. You come home at 2 a.m. Your wife is standing at the door with a broom. You say, "Hey, are you finally cleaning this shithole up, or are you going for a ride?" Yes, that's definitely a definition of brave. I heard a similar broom joke like that. What was it? It was something about the wife complaining that she had blisters on her hands from sweeping. So the husband said, "Oh, silly girl, you should be sitting on it." Something like that. The boys are off on E33s, E35s, E37s. Good Lord. A lot of E's. 36s. Tavo is the man. He knows his Mopars. His Aussie Mopars. Buddy Cara, I like the winding noise the 2-speed power glide makes. Gosh, haven't things changed though? From a 2-speed power glide to now a 10-speed automatic, and they actually felt one of the reasons they made the 2-speed power glide was they figured it was going to get better gas mileage. Were they wrong? I mean, that's why they go 10-speed now, is for better gas mileage, because the engine doesn't have to work so hard. It's like having an 18-speed pedal bike, much easier than a 1-speed pedal bike. So engine doesn't have to work so hard. Eagle Bob, 10R80 doesn't have any bands, just clutch packs and pressure plates with snap rings. I think 3 sun gears, different size clutches and drums. I'm definitely going to give it a shot on rebuilding myself. Awesome. Good on you, man. Yeah, I think it's probably one of those jobs and you'd want to put it back together as soon as possible after you've taken it apart to keep it familiar in your brain. It would suck to have to wait 2 months for parts or something and then have to try and remember how it went back together. It was like, ooh, was this one first or that one? Oh, that's what had happened to me. I'd have to video the whole process so that I could actually, watch it again. Jeff Hutchins, my wife told me to take the garbage out. I said, you cooked it, you took it out. I'm going to call BS on that. I don't believe you ever said that to your wife. I'm going to call you out on that one, Mr. Freemesser. I don't think you're suicidal enough to want to do that. Jeff Hutchins, the cleaner oil is off the top of the reservoir. Yeah, makes sense. The heavy shit drops, doesn't it? Jeff Hutchins, Chris Freemesser, you're lucky to be alive. I would say so, but that's why I'm calling BS on it. I think that's just that's a Mr. Freemesser tall tale, I suspect. He might have thought it, but whether he actually said it, it remains to be confirmed. I'd want to hear that from Mrs. Freemesser that he did actually say that. The main question is, are there any new parts sold for the 10R80? Now, that's a pretty good question, Bilefly. Yeah. They've got to be rebuilding them, though, a little. They've been around long enough, and I'm sure enough have failed. Chris Freemesser, Jeff Hutchins, that's an old Rodney Dangerfield joke. Okay. Sounds like a Rodney Dangerfield kind of thing to say. Beagle Bob, the Camaro 4th and 5th is very close, about 200 RPM at 65 or so. Okay. Volfly, stick to my 4 gears. The advantage with the 5th gear is you can go to, an overdriven 5th is you can go to a lower rear gear. And that just makes them so much more lively at lower speeds. But, 4-speed with enough, with a torquey enough engine in front of it is a lot of fun. Tavo, my Transit has a direct 5th, 076 overdrive, 6 gear, Getrag gearbox. Getrag makes some good transmissions, man. Similar early internals to the Mustangs of the era. Okay. Tavo is knowledgeable. He's better read than me on Aussie Mopars. Definitely better than me. I do wish I don't have many, and it's not a big regret, don't get me wrong, but, I don't have many regrets, but I really didn't pay enough attention to the Aussie muscle cars back when they were, when it was their era. I really didn't. And I wish I had. Certainly they were underrated by me and a lot of people, I think. Yeah. But boy, is that turned around now. I think, like pound for pound, or however you'd want to phrase it, dollar for dollar, that I think the Aussie muscle cars fetch more money than the American muscle cars. With the exception of maybe a couple of the Shelbys or the 426 winged cars and that sort of stuff. But there's probably a couple of exceptions to that rule. But I think typically, what people will pay for four-door Pacers, Valiant Chargers, Holden Monaros, GT Falcons. GT Falcons are massively expensive. And that's just a four-door Falcon, which here you have trouble selling them. Four-door Falcon. Not an Aussie. Chris Freemess of Volfly, is the 10R80 the Ford GM abomination that fails like crazy? Not sure. Beagle Bob, Volfly, the new one since 23 had 2 updated drums. A full rebuild kit is just over $1,000. It has the updated parts. That's not bad. $1,000. For a 10-speed transmission, that doesn't seem bad. I know that's quite a bit more than a rebuild kit for a turbo 350, but that has 3 gears. So that doesn't seem bad. Volfly, I think it's the 9-speed GM that's the horror. Okay. To replace it would be close to 6 or 7K. Oh well, if you spend a couple of weeks of evenings putting it back together, that's worth 5 or 6K. Your time. Yeah. Barracuda Kiwi, have you ever seen a custom-made oil drip catcher for leaking rear main seals? A little tray with foam in it. My V8 drips a tiny amount. I'm thinking of making one. I have heard of something like that. Yeah. What do I have heard of something like that. Yes. So what happens when the foam gets fully? That's my question. Is what happens when the foam gets full of oil, or the tray gets full of oil? I remember looking at the guys at the other end of my building, RES Automotive. They had an old Lincoln in there, like 1930 something Lincoln, and they were messing around with trying to stop the rear main leaking, and it didn't actually have a seal of any kind. It had this weird little guttering I don't know how you'd explain it without actually showing you. It's tricky, but oil came out and it had a way of diverting it and sending it back into the pan. So it didn't actually have a seal. It didn't have like a great big huge gap for oil to come out. But there was no rubber seal or rope seal or anything like that. But the oil that made its way out got channeled and directed back into the pan. And I remember seeing it and thinking, wow, that's far out, like interesting way of doing it. But gosh, I can't even remember what it looked like now. It was just I just had a bit of a look in passing, but I remember thinking it was kind of an interesting solution to the problem. So they never actually fixed the leak because it wasn't really a leak. It was just there was a way out for the oil, and then they caught it and redirected it. So, food for thought. That would be the thing that would bother me with your little tray with foam in it. You'd have to keep draining that out or cleaning out the foam or doing something like that. Almost like a like a little diaper on the rear main, or nappy on the rear main. We're talking New Zealand speak. Dean Stevenson, face plating is a modification for manual gearboxes where standard synchronizers are replaced with flat, heavy-duty dog teeth face plates on the gears and sliders. The dog box, dog drive. That's very much race car stuff, and I haven't heard it called face plating. That's interesting. I've never heard of that term before. But dog box, absolutely, yeah. And dog teeth, and they're quite a neat gearbox to drive, but you've got to be super aggressive with them. And you can change them without using the clutch at all. The whole idea really is that you change gear without using the clutch. You might dip the clutch on a downshift, but they're kind of like a motorbike. If you just come off the throttle, you can click up your gear lever and go up the gears on a motorbike typically without, because they don't have synchros and all that stuff inside a motorbike transmission. So they're a dog drive, and you can just back off the throttle, flick the gear up, and nail it again. But race cars often had that. They would only have to blip the throttle going down, and on the upshift, you could just leave your foot pinned to the floor, and just if you were pulled hard enough or pushed hard enough on the shifter, they'd bang into the next gear. A little tough for street driving. Beagle Bob, I know my T4 before I pulled it from the donor car would grind reverse if it wasn't put into first or second before trying reverse. Yeah, that's not uncommon. There's a few gearboxes around like that. That's not just a T5 thing. AUDHD. The boxes have upper sump plates with hinged doors to let the oil return from the heads, but the place also stops the G-force swish. Having a floating pickup may go with the G-force where the oil is. I see. Okay. Yeah, that could work. I mean, that's a possibility. Buddy Caro, 6-speed on the column would be interesting to drive. Yeah, it would, because then you need a whole nother gate for the reverse. So you'd have four basic gates, effectively. That's a lot on a column. I don't think you could do it. I don't think it would be interesting. Yeah. Tavo, my transit van 6-speed is close, has a very short shift lever on the dash next to the steering wheel. So that must be a British transit. That's going to be a British van, essentially, isn't it? Volfly. Okay, time to go to bed a bit early tonight, mate. I'm feeling the same way. The heat's gotten to me today. It was hot today at work, so I am feeling it. David Tyree dog box. Isn't that what married guys are in all the time? I have had a few visits to the dog box, yes, but not all the time, to be fair. And I may or may not have deserved it, but hey. Beagle Bob, doghouse, David. Doghouse, a step up from a mill suite. Oh, dear. All right, guys. Well, it's that enchanting hour. It's gone 9 by 7 minutes. Tavo, later ones were more German design, and mine was built in Turkey. Good Lord. There you go. There you go. Oh, mother-in-law, MIL. A step up from the, oh, God. I've never been sent to the MIL. No, that wouldn't be a happening thing. No, not going there. No, don't care what I did. Not going there. Hey, Mexican Speak, you're still with us. Good to have you here for the whole 2 hours, mate. Awesome. All right, guys, we'll take it easy. Another good night. Hey, we talked about cars all night again, pretty much. Yeah, almost exclusively. Well done. Well done. No Yetis and no chocolate muffins whatsoever. You just never know. Beagle Bob, Bear Rose must not be live. I haven't seen him for a while. Anyway, got to go. We never asked what car a Yeti would prefer. A big one, I think, is the answer to that. A big one. Barracuda, I've learned something else. I'm not welcome at Kiwi's place. Now, that's not true. That's not true. Mate. Anytime. Right, we'll have to do better next week, Savloy. There you go. All right, fellas, have a good one. Get to work on your cars. I know it's hot, but hey, got to do something. All right, I'm going to go and work on Alpines, and it sounds like I might have to do a bit of work on my Mustang if I've got to get this Tommy Bosch's thing racing the Hemi Bago. That'd be a bit embarrassing if I got beaten by the Hemi Bago, wouldn't it? Yeesh. That would not be good. Power to weight, similar horsepower, a lot lighter. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. I will see you same place, same channel next week. Take it easy, fellas.